Welcome to today's episode. Today I am talking to Eltrisa Bryant. Eltrisa is a confidence coach and she spent most of her life hiding in the shadows of others because of low self-esteem and a lack of self-confidence. Her mission is to pull purpose out of women and young girls and help them build their confidence to step into their full potential. Hi Eltrisa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here today. And how did I do with your intro? Is there anything you'd like to add?
At the moment, no. I'm just excited to be here and I'm ready to do this.
Yeah, me too. Me too. From our brief conversation, a bit earlier, I'm really looking forward to it. I think lots of similarities and stuff in some parts of our story that are that's gonna be really amazing to share. So I'd really love you to share a little bit about your legacy and what you do.
How I got started.
Yeah, actually, before we jump in, I have a question that I have to ask you that I ask everyone on my show, and that is, before we jump in, how do you start your day?
With prayer.
Beautiful.
It used to be just get up and check my phone, but it's like you have to give God the glory because He didn't have to wake you up. So with prayer.
Amazing. Yeah. I love it. And yeah, so please share with me the legacy you're here to leave.
I want to not only leave a company or a business that my children's children can profit off of, but I want to leave confidence in all the little girls and women that struggled like I did. Growing up, I didn't have the confidence or the self-esteem. And like you said, I did hide behind the shadows because a lot of people would tell me, oh, you're black, you're so black, you're ugly, your forehead is so big. So I became an introvert because I didn't want people to single me out and make fun of me. I was quiet. Would really have to get to know me to see that vibrant side of me. So I want girls that are growing up like me or women that experience what I've experienced to know that you are beautiful regardless of the color of your skin and regardless of how you look, because beauty starts with you. So I want to instill that in women. And like we were talking about earlier, what finally made me decide to go forward and just tell my story and help other people is when my daughter was able to talk, and she told me that she no longer wanted to be brown because brown was ugly and she wants to be white. And she didn't think she was pretty and she hated her coily hair. And I was like, oh no, this stops with me. She is not going to go through what I went through. So now I'm here and I'm building my platform and I'm ready to help. As a little girl, I always wanted for someone to come up to me and say, hey, you're beautiful, or hey, you can get through this and you have my support. But nobody ever really did that. People just kind of told me, you're really smart, you're this, you're that, but nobody looked at the core of the problem and tried to solve it. And now I'm here to do the same thing. Well, do that, not the same thing.
Beautiful. And like, I really relate because I have a young son who's 4 and a little baby who's 7 months old. And so, my partner's Caucasian, so they're quite light skins. And I'm not particularly dark, but still I've faced immense challenges and overcome them. And then with my vitiligo as well. So I really understand that. And I really want my children to grow up knowing acceptance and really owning their skin and who they are, and their brownness, their darkness. I just think it's so important. So I love your mission and your legacy, and that that a huge part of this is stopping it with your children. That is just so key, and I love that you're rising up in that. It's amazing. And so what apart from that, what compelled you, like, from your story? What was like the catalyst or the thing that started you on your journey to self-love?
just other people telling me, like, as I grew older, other people started telling me that I was beautiful, I was pretty, and I didn't believe them. And it's just like, why would you lie to me? And it's just like, no, you really are. And then I had to start checking within myself. I heard it so much growing up that I'm ugly that I internalized it, and that became my reality. So I had to unlearn ugly and really look at pretty. And now I'm at a point in my life where no one can tell me I'm ugly, because it's not up to you to determine that. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So if I believe I'm beautiful, no one else's opinion matters.
Mm, that's powerful. Um, and so now, so you're a confidence coach. Um, and so tell me about that. How do you work with women now?
So I'm actually a healing and confidence coach. So I
Mm-hmm.
take women, I help them heal from past trauma. A lot of the healing, a lot of the trauma that they've experienced in their lives causes low self-esteem, and they don't have the confidence. So we have to tackle the issues first. And once we tackle the issues and we help them accept it, it's easier to move on from it. And then we work on building the confidence and the self-esteem. So it depends on the client and what they've experienced and how far into it they are. Um, but I work with a lot of women, and at first it's scary to just come out of your shell, to tell your story, and then to admit that you want help, you need help. So yeah,
Mm.
that answered your question. That's
Yeah, absolutely. It really does. And what do you feel are the keys to a more confident you?
You definitely have to embrace who you are, because if
Mhm.
you don't, then you can't be confident. Confidence and self-esteem are two different things, but they go hand in hand. So if your self-esteem is not there, your confidence can't be at an all-time high. You have to work on who you are, love you, heal the broken parts of you, and then you can go on to being confident. Because confident, knowing who you are, what you want, and what you believe in plays a big role in you being completely confident, because you're going to go out there in the world and no one is going to be able to tell you what it is or what it isn't, because you know you're confident in
Mm,
who you are and what you're bringing. So you
mm,
have to first love yourself. Secondly, just be bold. Be bold. You can't be afraid. You have to go out there and face whatever it is that's scaring you, because the more you run from fears, the more it continues to revisit you. Face your
mm,
fear. Those are the two main things. Those are the two main keys to confidence. If you love on who you are, accept yourself for who you are, and then you face your fears, there's nothing else in the way of you getting to your goals. Nothing else can stop you.
mm. So for
I,
someone, say there was someone there that was like you, and like I experienced it too, but like thinking you were feeling like you were too dark, and how would you start? Like how would you start like loving that part of you?
you definitely have to be vocal about it. It's I personally don't think that it's something you can overcome by yourself, because you've already made yourself believe that you're not good enough. So
Mm-hmm.
someone has to help you through it. Oh,
Yeah. It
can you see me now?
yeah,
I
I
don't know
can
what.
see you. That's okay. No
Someone has
worries.
to help you through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so do you, how important do you think it is to have support from someone else in doing that?
It's very, very important. And sometimes the support from strangers is not as good as the love and support from someone that you actually look up to and admire. Like if it's a young child, maybe your mother telling you you're beautiful, or your father telling you you're beautiful, and actually instilling those powerful affirmations into you.
Mm. But what if you don't have that support in your family structure or your friendship structure and stuff? How would you how can you have hope and tune into that?
That's where it becomes really tough,
Mm.
because when you don't have the support, you have to find it within yourself.
Mm.
And it's just really looking in the mirror, writing, if that's whatever it takes for you to release. You have to release all of the negativity and pour. positive affirmations into yourself. That's why affirmations are important. You have to tell yourself, because someone told you and then you told yourself that you were ugly or you weren't good enough. So you have to release the negativity and pour more positive in. I'm beautiful. I know this. I believe this. I will make it. I am enough. Things like that. You have to pour that into you, and you have to make it. So it's all about unlearning what you have learned about yourself and then rediscovering who you are.
Yeah, and just practicing. So practicing it a lot. And I know that's what I did myself. Like with my skin, when my skin started to change, I really had to go back to the basics and go back to just talk. I used to just start speaking to my skin in loving ways and just telling it that I was grateful for it and telling it how much I loved it. And just I'd started with like a minute every night kind of thing. I did started really small because that's all the capacity I had, because I was still trying to come to terms with this unknown fear. And so I just started really small, like while I was lying in bed, or just talking to it for like 5 minutes or something really small. So I do feel that's really important, like that practice and coming back to it constantly.
And then listening to you also brought to my memory that you have to interrupt the negative self-talk. You have to interrupt those thoughts.
Yeah. So if you have that, have those negative thoughts and you catch it, what can you say or do to interrupt it?
You have to replace it with something positive. So if I'm saying to myself, oh my God, my skin is so ugly. No, my skin is actually beautiful and I'm grateful for it. I have this skin for a reason. You have to replace it with something positive. As soon as you think of the negative thought, you immediately replace it with something positive. Or you ask yourself a question, like, why in the world would you think your skin is so ugly? Because when you ask a question, the brain searches for an answer.
Yeah.
Practice. And then before you know it, you're not thinking anything negative because the brain is already pouring in positive. I am going to reiterate that affirmations are so important, and you should make your own. Customize your own affirmations. It's okay to go on the internet and find them, but when you create your own, it becomes more personal.
And do you think they should? And with affirmations, do you think they should be like not like smaller affirmations, so they're not such a stretch for you to believe, or how would you like break that down to make them fit you so that they're like I guess close enough that you can believe them?
I think it depends on the person. Whatever you want your affirmation to be, as long as it resonates with you. You can't say, you can't make affirmations on things that you don't believe, like you were saying. It has to be, you have to really believe it. Yeah. And if you don't, it'd be something that you will eventually believe the more you say it and the more you apply it to your life.
Yeah, like that possibility. There has to be that possibility for you to be able to step into that. Yeah, that really resonates. And how did you personally step into that confidence?
Like I said, at first I started looking at myself and it's just like, you know what, you aren't ugly. This is what people told you. People who weren't hurt people. They were hurt. They decided they wanted to hurt you as well. You are beautiful. Name some of the things you love about yourself. And I was like, I actually love my cute little button nose and my little eyes, and I love my smile. And my skin is actually very beautiful. And it's soft. Like I just started looking at all the things I liked and loved about myself, and the things that I found to be a problem started to shrink until they eventually disappeared. You know, I'm not completely where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. And I love that. I'm evolving every day.
And I love that. I'm really glad you shared that, because I do feel like start with what you actually can see, recognize and notice like straight away. And it can be tiny, it can be really small, and it can seem silly, like, but those things add up, and then you can build on them and grow on them. And it's I would start with that stuff, and I'd even do things like, oh, I'm so grateful for my eyes because they allow me to see, and then I'd build up to like getting to like liking the color of them, or liking, or my nose or something as well. Like, I'm grateful I can smell, and then building up to the like grateful for the shape of it or how it looked and stuff. And building on that. I think that's a really good point that you made. And so now that you have stepped into this confidence and this new way of being, how has it changed your life?
Oh, it has made me look at the world different. I no longer look at the world in fear of how people are viewing me and wanting to run and hide. It's just like, there's a big old world out here, and there's so many opportunities. And who better than me, myself, to go out there and just embrace all of it?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, so amazing. And who's been your most impactful teacher?
I'm sorry, it was breaking up. I didn't hear you.
Oh, that's okay. Who's been your most impactful teacher?
Surprisingly, my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't think that they can learn from children, but you really can. Just the little work that I've been doing with her and watching her confidence change, I feel like I'm watching myself grow up all over again, and I'm able to interrupt the patterns that no one interrupted when I was growing up. And I'm building this beautiful, strong, confident baby girl. So she's been an inspiration. She's been my teacher. I know what to add, what to take away, just based on her reaction, how she's developing. So it's been beautiful.
How old is she?
She's 4.
Oh, yeah, my son's 4 as well. So it's such a they're such a curious age, and there's so much. It's so interesting how like they're really influential, and they really, really at that age just take everything in. So it's really inspiring to me to see when people are really working with their kids from such a young age to do that, you know. Are you still there? I think I'm not sure if we have lost Eltrisa. But yeah, I will just keep chatting and see if she comes back. So, like everything Eltrice has been sharing, I have found really, really impactful myself. And stuff that I have really applied in my own life, because I have really been someone who struggled with the self-love thing, and I really struggled with accepting my skin and all these tools that Altricia is giving, and the affirmations and stuff. Like, there's a lot of buzz around affirmations, and there's a lot of stuff where people say, well, it doesn't really have like that big of an impact and stuff. But when you start small and you start doing those little things every day, so like, for example, just saying, I'm really grateful for my nose and my skin, it feels so soft. And I love like feeling the air in my lungs, and I'm so grateful that they allow me to breathe every day. Doing things like that and building a really strong practice in a really small way is so, so, so impactful and amazing. And um I just think that anyone can do it, and it's really, really important. And like as Eltrisa said, it's totally changed her life. And now she gets to step into that and really step into that confident place with her own daughter. And show her what is possible for her, and it's shaping our future generations. So I do the same thing with my kids and instill the same self-belief in them. And it's really interesting. There's this book, which I think I've mentioned in an interview with someone else, called Mindset by Carol Dweck. And it's a great book in terms of talking about two parts of mindset. So you have your growth and your fixed mindset. And you can really instill a growth mindset in children from a young age, which is where you show them what is possible for them. And they don't have to be the best. It's not about being the best at something. It's about learning. And if they fall down, it's about showing them what is possible for them. And letting them make mistakes and then learning and just always doing their best. And it's not just in terms of what you do, it's in terms of like how you show up and how you relate to yourself and how you love yourself. So really tuning in to you, tuning into your skin, or whatever the thing for you that is holding you back, or your kids back, or like, maybe they're shy, or maybe they get anxious or worried about things. It goes for adults or kids, whatever that thing is that is getting in the way of self-love and confidence, which is what Eltrice and I've been talking about. Having a growth mindset and seeing, this is possible for me. I am everything that I need, and I can just keep showing up, and I can just work hard and put in the effort, and everything is going to really unfold beautifully for me. So I think that's really, really valuable. And I'm hoping that Eltrice will jump back on. Because that would be amazing, so we could continue the conversation. I will wait and see, and if not, then I'm going to definitely link all of her details in the show notes, because even though this is cut out, and this is the reality of the internet, sometimes when you do a podcast, and I generally like to leave my podcasts raw, unfiltered, and just flow with them, because I really, really believe that there's magic in the madness and the mess. And like it can be really useful sometimes to have the unfiltered stuff. I really love it. I love listening to things that are unfiltered, because you get to see the humanity of what goes in behind a business, and also of people. And yeah, so I think that's really important. And I mean, I just, that's how I show up, and I'm really, excited, and I can see Eltrice's coming back in now, so it's perfect. This is perfect. We can keep talking and keep going into this a little bit more. I'll just keep talking while I wait for her to set up. And so this is podcasting, and this is how we share our stories. It's not always perfect, it's not always messy, and it's the same when you look at your self-love and stuff. Sometimes it's messy and you have to go in and out, but it's all good. I've just kept talking while you cut out, and I was just saying that the self-love journey can be messy, just like technology, and you just have to go in and out. So welcome back.
Thank you.
I've lost where you were talking about your daughter being a really impactful teacher. And yeah, I love how you're inspiring her and showing her how to love herself. It's so important. And so do you you work with women and just adults, or do you also work with children, or?
So I work with women and teen girls.
Amazing.
And I
Yeah.
love both, because I get to have the best of both worlds. It's almost like I'm in the middle of two different generations. So I have to constantly keep up with the times so I can relate to the teenage girls. And then sometimes women that I deal with are a lot older, so they end up teaching me certain things. It's beautiful.
And how do you work with these teenage girls? Is it I mean, I've never worked with teens before, so I'm really curious about your approach and how you support them.
I definitely start out by asking a lot of questions, what they
Mm,
like. I try to make I meet with them every Saturday, and it's in a judgment free zone so that
mhm,
they're comfortable. And I realize the more you speak to them and the more they feel like you can relate to them, the more they open up, and then you discover like the emotional blocks, and you can kind of figure out where they need, what areas they would need help in, and you just go from there. It's really not hard because all teenage girls want to do is be understood. I don't think that the things that they go through are different from the things that I've gone through or you've gone through. It's just the
mm,
times are different. But it's
mm.
still boy trouble, school, friendships, nothing new under the sun. It's
Yeah.
all about your approach.
Yeah, amazing. So it's so important. And that's such a time of such transition. So to have someone like you going in there and supporting them through that, it's it must really help be so supportive for them to be heard and be like have someone see them and understand them without judging them, because I feel like it seems like a common theme where we're really critical of teens and say they're like out of control and stuff, but really there's a lot of underlying stuff going on, in that growth period of our lives.
I think we become judgmental when we see someone younger than us doing the same things we've done and we think we know the outcome. Sometimes you
Mm,
have to let them experience things, or you just say, hey, when I was your age, I went through this and this is how it turned out. Instead of judging them, just explain to them, well, this is what I experienced, and if you want, I can give you my opinion. Give them
mm,
that option. Don't just tell them, don't do this because when I did it, this happened. Because they're going to shut down and they're not going to want to talk to you.
I love that. I really love that. Um, and so do you have like a favorite book or anything that you've read that really inspired you?
I have several books. Right now, the book that I'm reading is The Power of Now.
Hmm.
The person that wrote the book, oh goodness, I just had the title in my head.
Eckhart Tolle. Um,
Yes, yes.
I can't remember his other book name either. It's New Earth, A New Earth.
No, it's another one where it's a young boy and he goes through the desert,
Oh,
but there are life lessons that he's learning as he
um,
goes through. It'll come back to me after, and I'm just gonna inbox it to you.
yeah, amazing. And how is that impacting you?
It's definitely teaching me to go deeper because
Hmm.
everything that you need to learn is not always on the surface.
Mm,
I
yeah,
like it. Yeah.
yeah, it is.
He's
You
a great
have to go
author.
deep. You really do have to go deep. And so what do you wish you'd known when you first started on your like journey to confidence?
I wish I had known that it starts with me. I thought that the opinion of others was where it began, but no, it's really all about you, what you think. It starts with you.
Mm, yeah,
Can you
definitely.
hear? Okay.
Yeah, I can. It cut out a little, but I can hear you. Yeah, it definitely does start with you. Yeah. And what would you say to her?
My younger self,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry that I didn't believe in you and that I didn't stand up for you and that I didn't love you enough.
Mm, so lovely. Would you do anything differently?
Not at all. This experience, I feel I had to go through to help other people. So I wouldn't change anything.
I'm the same. I feel that really strongly. Whilst it's been challenging and all the things that have happened and that I've situations I've even put myself in, I wouldn't change them because they shaped my work and how I can be with my kids, and led me to be where I am now, which is so amazing. And what has your work done for your clients that you maybe didn't expect?
It definitely opened their eyes to another side of who they are, and they're able to love a little more on themselves, not everyone else, and just understand that what people have done to you is not because of you, but because of what they've gone through. Hurt people really do hurt people.
Yeah, perception is other people's perceptions can really like run our stories, but um it's really important to be able to discern between someone's opinion and the assessments that they're making, and like the facts and what's actually true, because it comes from their own stories and their own experiences. And how do you kind of connect to that for your clients so that they can see that too?
What do you mean?
Like how will you like um show your clients, and when you're working with them, help them like see that other people's perceptions aren't, because I feel like for me, like it took me a lot, it was really hard for me to realize that other just because someone had an opinion about me and was saying this stuff, that it wasn't true. Like I would see it as true and I'd be stuck in that. um
Mhm.
so I'm sure in the work that you do, you help people like separate from that, the truth, if you know what I mean. How would you go about that?
Well, you definitely use scenarios. I try to lighten things up by asking a silly question like, if someone else drinks poison, do you die?
Mm.
If your answer
Oh,
is
I
no,
love
then
it.
it doesn't matter. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I love that. That's really relatable too. um yeah, and what's the best compliment that you've ever received?
Um, that I have a beautiful mind. I
Mm-hmm.
think true beauty is a lot deeper than your appearance. And when somebody thinks that your mind is beautiful, it means that you've gone beyond the box that people have placed you in, and you've really flourished into who you truly are. You're not
Mm,
negative or anything like that. So for me, that's the best compliment, because I'm intellectual, and I enjoy intellectual conversations and things of that nature. So when someone tells me my mind is beautiful, I think that's like the best compliment to give me.
yeah, definitely. um and what does elevating your life and soul mean to you?
Truly submitting to God and doing the work that He has called me to do.
mm, Beautiful.
Continue to gain knowledge of who he is, who I am in him, and of the world and the people that I aspire to help.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything else that you'd love to add, or any questions that I didn't ask you that you wish I'd asked you that you'd like to share?
I just want to add to anybody that's listening and they're struggling with their self esteem or their confidence, just remember this phrase: be bold, be confident, be you. The key word is be. It's a command. Just do it. And if you don't believe that you're bold or confident and you don't know who you are, then you practice, because practice makes perfect.
Mm,
Confidence is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it doesn't grow.
mm,
You gotta use
totally.
it. Practice.
I love that. Um, Thank you so much. And I really love this conversation. It's something I'm really passionate about as well. So I'm so glad for you to bring forward your story and your experience and knowledge, because it's you're so such evidence of how to shift through this and work through this, and it's been really nurturing conversation. And I'd love for you to share how people can connect with you and what offers you have out there, which I'll link it all in the show notes. So
So on Facebook, I'm Trista McDaniel, And on Instagram, it's she is underscore Ella B, because I go by the name Ella B. Ella means light and B is a command. Be light.
Oh, I love that. Amazing. So
Thank
amazing.
you.
And so you work with women one-on-one, or do you have programs, or um
I'm currently a part of an organization called Girls with Scars, and we
mhm.
work with women and young girls, well, children, women and children. So I do work with them, and then I also have one-on-one coaching. So I
Amazing.
volunteer a lot, and then I do my own thing as well.
Oh, so beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. It's been really amazing having you here.
Thank you for having me. Have a great one.
You too.